Okay, so I know that I just said goodbye for now, but I'm gonna ask you to do one more thing, okay? Welcome to Breaking Down the B.E.S.T, a video series dedicated to breaking down Florida's best standards for math. So grab something to write with and maybe even a snack. This looks good. And don't forget to put a smile on your face. There you go, I see you. And let's dive into today's best standard. Hello everyone, my name is Sarah McCarthy and I am super excited that you are here taking time out of your crazy busy nonstop schedule to join me on this episode as we break down today's standard, which is MA.4.AR.3.1. All right, this standard says to determine factor pairs for a whole number from 0 to 144. Determine whether a whole number from 0 to 144 is either prime, composite, or neither. So determine, that means that we're going to figure out the factor pairs. Factors are numbers that you multiply by. So a factor times a factor equals a product. And those factors that we're multiplying are called factor pairs. For a whole number from 0 through 144, so we will not go below or above that, we will determine whether this whole number is prime, which means that the factors are 1 and itself only, like 13. 1 times 13, those are the only factor pairs that we can create for that number. That means that 13 is prime. Or more than 2 factors, like the number 6. 6, you can multiply 1 times 6, and you can multiply 2 times 3. We have 2 sets of factor pairs there, meaning that 6 is composite. Or neither. The only ones that are neither are 0 and 1. Okay? So, oh, by the way, this document that I'm marking up all over is not something that I created. It's something that is provided by the Florida Department of Education. They release documents like this to the public to break down the standards so teachers, parents, educational leaders can digest them and figure out what it is exactly that students are going to be expected to do within the standard. So I'm just modeling using their resource for you what I do to break down the standards in order to create the best standards that you see, the best resources that you see for the program taking on the B.E.S.T. Okay? For some clarifications, they mentioned the divisibility rules, which are in taking on the B.E.S.T, and that the numbers 0 and 1 are neither prime nor composite. We will need this benchmark right here, which is to recall multiplication and division facts that will come into play to help us with this standard. And these are some terms that you need to know, which we already discussed up there, okay? Move it on down. What have they learned so far that will help them? Well, in 3rd grade, they learned about odd and even numbers, which will help, and multiples, which will help. And then in 6th grade, they will express composite numbers as a product of prime factors. Do you remember prime factorization trees, I think they were called? Yeah, that's what they'll be doing in 6th grade. Okay, it says the purpose of this benchmark is for students to begin the understanding of factors, which sets the foundation for determining prime factorization. That's what it's called, prime factorization in 6th grade. So we need to know that prime numbers have exactly 2 factors, 1 and itself. The number 1 and itself. And look, they mentioned the number 13. Or maybe I just got it from here. There are also composite numbers that have more than 2 factors, like 14 have the factors 1, 2, 7, and 14. This would be how we list factors right there. These are some divisibility rules right there, which you can take a look at, but I also want to let you know we totally address these in taking on the B.E.S.T. They have their own video lesson where we talk about the divisibility rules. Students should model arrays, which we do in taking on the B.E.S.T. to determine why a number would be prime or composite. And I'm also a big fan of factor rainbows. If you have not ever used a factor rainbow to find factors of numbers, you're missing out. But not for long, because I totally have some video lessons that go over factor rainbows. I actually learned this in my 5th year of teaching or something like that. Teacher showed me and I was like, oh, that's amazing. Love me some factor rainbows. All right, some common misconceptions or errors that students might have. They might think that all odd numbers are prime. And I wrote, yes, they tend to think that. They're like, oh, 51, that's odd. It's prime. But it's not. It's not prime at all. There's a factor of 3 actually that you can pull out of 51. So, boom. This task right here that they mentioned, I just made a note saying that this is going to take a while, this one, because they're finding all the factors for the numbers between 20 and 3. Really? Between 20 and 30, I mean. So that's going to take a while, which would be a great task for them to do. Given one problem, it will take them a little bit and clearly shows their understanding of factors. Oh, we need to talk about this. For this instructional item right here, you see how it says 84 can be written as the product of 2 times 2 times 3 times 7. This right here is prime factorization. And this is a 6th grade skill. Okay, I actually emailed the state about this one because I was like, but you said we're setting students up for success in 6th grade. Are they really going to be required to solve prime factorization? And I don't have the email right in front of me, but basically the response back was, we're going to be revising these guides and that will be one of them that we take a look at. So I would not stress about having students do anything that looks like this, the prime factorization. However, I would love to see some more samples of maybe what your counties or what you're seeing. You will get more resources than I will. So if you see anything or get any clarification on the prime factorization component for this standard, please send it my way. I would love to know what's circulating out there, just to help. Because if there is something like this, like I'm letting you know right now, there is nothing with prime factorization in taking on the B.E.S.T, because I was told by the state that that students weren't expected to know how to implement prime factorizations. So there's nothing in there for taking on the B.E.S.T. But if we get more clarification and they're like, oh yeah, prime factorization is totally a component of this standard, then I will revise some of the work that's up there for you and make sure you have resources. So if you can send me anything, that would be great. All right, with that said, let me show you what is available in your, totally almost dropped my iPad. We are on the website right here. I'm going to click on members, enter here. Taking on the B.E.S.T, it might ask you to log in there, so just do that. 4th grade, the algebraic reasoning strand, and we are on MA.4.AR.3.1, factoring prime and composite numbers. Okay, so bronze, gold, and silver members have access to these bronze resources. They are video lessons, and you get the topic of the skill being discussed right there. So prime, composite, or neither. In this video lesson, we'll talk about that. Okay, including arrays, finding all the factor pairs, going over what prime numbers are, what composite numbers are, and 0 and 1 are neither prime nor composite, which we'll go over. This one right here is about finding all of the factors. This is the video lesson where I bust out the factor rainbow. Let me see if I can see. You can see the factor rainbow. It is the most wonderful thing. I love the factor rainbow. It's so helpful. Okay, there's that lesson. And then here is a lesson using divisibility rules, where we will discuss the divisibility rules and then use them with these 2 examples. If you have the silver or the gold plan, you have access to the silver resources, which bump up the standard-based resources that you have. So we've got some printables here. This is just your video lessons all together. So complete that video lesson, and then here's some extra practice. Complete the video lesson on factor rainbows, and here's the video lessons. And if students have a different way that they like to go about finding all the factors, that's fine. They can do that here too. Whatever will get them all of the factor pairs, and also determining if it's prime or composite. Divisibility rules, and then more practice with the divisibility rules. Okay, then we have a math mission, which is our math task, which combines all of the elements that they need to know. So what are all the factors of 24? Include an array for each factor pair. What are all the factors of 32? Include an array for each factor pair. Amber says that 24, 32, and 48 only share the common factors 4 and 8. Do you agree with Amber? Explain your thinking so you can see that these involve a lot more thinking and responsibility for the student. Finally, we have the Math Misconception Mystery resource. It says select all the statements that are true about the number 36. So here we're talking about the factors, whether it's prime or composite or neither. All you have to do is press play. Press play, and then I'll explain when students will stop and solve the problem. Then they'll watch as 4 characters solve the problem, and oh yes, those characters are just me dressed up in silly costumes. 3 of those characters will be correct. Nope, that's not right. 3 of them will be incorrect, making a mistake that students commonly make, and only 1 character will provide the correct answer. And then your students will work together to fill out the detective report. Your answer keys are right here for all that too, including my version of the detective report. That's right in there. And then if you are a gold member, you have even more resources that are aligned to this standard. You have a mini assessment right here with a variety of question types. Boom. You also have a mini assessment answer key. You have this ad-free version of Breaking Down the B.E.S.T. These videos can be found on YouTube, but right here, the gold members get a little perk of having all the resources right here, the video right here, without any ads. So that's awesome. And McCarthy Math 155 gives you access to 155 video lessons for each grade level. Now these video lessons are aligned to the Common Core standards, but there are a lot that trickle over, and there is a lot actually for the standards. So let me show you. Let's click on 4th grade. So we are scrolling down, and right here, factors, multiples, and patterns. I think prime and composite are also in there. Let's look. Okay, so we have multiples, which really aren't a part of this, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 video lessons on factoring, finding all the factors. And in these videos, we are also determining whether the numbers are prime or composite. So 4 extra lessons just of drilling out factors, okay? Okay, so hopefully you understand this standard better. You understand what resources you have that are strategically aligned to this standard. I hope you're feeling good about it, because I know I am, and I know that you're busy. I honor and value your time. So with that, I just want to remind you that what you choose to do every single day with your life, it really does matter. Thank you for all you do for education, for your students, for bringing your best every day to show students what it looks like to step into your best, because they're watching. You don't even know how you're inspiring them, but I really do thank you for doing that. I also want to thank you for allowing me to be a part of your educational world. That's pretty awesome. So excited to continue supporting you, and I'll see you next time. All right, bye. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider sharing it with your teacher friends or other leaders in education. That's how I get to continue doing what I love to do, which of course is supporting you all to the best of my ability. All right, for real now. Bye. Hello, teachers, parents, and educational leaders, and welcome to this episode of Breaking Down the B.E.S.T. Now, during this episode, you will get a peek into the members only area where I have tons of resources to help you make math fun, make it click, and make it stick. There should be a link somewhere around this video where you can learn more. All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's get to it and let's break down the standard.